All right, this should not be controversial, but if you work in a school library, you should be reading the books in the library. Why? I'll tell you why. Kids want to read good books, just like adults. And if a peer or a librarian or a teacher recommends a book to a student and they really sell it, of course they're going to want to read it. I'm sure there's a study out there someplace that proves this theory, but trust me, it's right. What's that you say? You want a scary book? This is my favorite. It's about a school where there's a legend that if you ever go on a field trip and the bus breaks down, get off the bus. Do not stay on the bus. And so these kids go on a field trip. And guess what happens? They go to this farm, they learn about these scarecrows and all this crazy stuff, and on the way home, the bus breaks down. And this one kid's like, we have to get off the bus. And all the other kids are like, no, that's crazy. We need to stay on the bus and wait for somebody to come help. Well, the bus driver gets off the bus and leaves. Now what are you supposed to do? So this one kid, he just gets off the bus. And two of his friends, they decide to go with him because they're afraid for him. And so they get off the bus and they start walking through the woods, and there's this weird thing with a watch, and they start running, and their watch says hide. And in the background, they can hear all these kids screaming. And the book is called Small Spaces, and it's about hiding in small spaces instead of big open places. It's amazing, scary, wonderful book. I read about 40 kids' books a year. They're fun, they're interesting, they're inspirational, they're about all kinds of topics, and they don't include things like romance, murder, violence, profanity. Just my speed. When you talk about books with a student, you're building a connection. They're reading, they're learning respect for the library, they love to come to the library, they learn respect for you, they trust your opinions, they read fantastic books. It's a win-win. And we all know as a librarian that if you can get a kid fired up about a book and they hear the message, they relate to the characters, they walk in someone else's shoes, or they just enjoy the story, that's a great feeling. So bottom line, read more kids' books if you are working in a school library. And don't forget this one, Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. It's amazing.